Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another dispatch from the studio. Sunny today, warming up. It was cold, snowy. Today is warmer, clear. I think there's more snow on the way, which is good. Anyway, um, turns out aesthetic form, making aesthetically, creatively, engaging with aesthetic form, receiving it, experiencing aesthetic form. Turns out it's not a luxury. Turns out it's really essential for us human beings, and it has dear practical consequences. Turns out. So we're not just indulging, we're taking care of things. It's true. It's really true. All right. On that note, a couple weeks ago, Michelle, thank you, Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. She sent me a copy of one of the letters that Cezanne wrote to his wife. That's in this beautiful collection. Not Cezanne wrote to his wife. Rilke sent to his wife. Rainer Maria Rilke, the German poet. And it's collected in a collection called Letters on Cezanne, although this letter has nothing to do with, apparently, ostensibly, with Cezanne, doesn't mention Cezanne. Can you hear me? But it's very beautiful. So thank you, Michelle. And I'm going to read it. Never, this is from September 13th, 1907, Paris. Never have I been so touched and almost gripped by the sight of heather as the other day, when I found these 3 branches in your dear letter. Since then, they are lying in my book of images, penetrating it with their strong and serious smell, which is really just the fragrance of autumn earth. But how glorious it is, this fragrance. At no other time, it seems to me, does the earth let itself be inhaled in one smell, the ripe earth, in a smell that is in no way inferior to the smell of the sea, bitter where it borders on taste, and more than honey sweet where you feel it is close to touching the first sounds, containing depth within itself, darkness, something of the grave almost, and yet again wind, tar, and turpentine, and Ceylon tea. Serious and poor, like the smell of a begging monk, and yet again hearty and resinous, like precious incense. And the way they look like embroidery, splendid, like 3 cypresses woven into a Persian rug with violet silk, a violet of such vehement moistness, as if it were the complementary color of the sun. You should see this. I don't believe these little twigs could have been as beautiful when you sent them. Otherwise, you would have expressed some astonishment about them. Right now, one of them happens to be lying on dark blue velvet in an old pen and pencil box. It's like a fireworks. Well, no, it's really like a Persian rug. Are all these millions of little branches really so wonderfully wrought? Just look at the radiance of this green, which contains a little gold, and the sandalwood warmth of the brown in the little stems, and that fissure with its new, fresh, inner, barely green. I've been admiring the splendor of these little fragments for days, and am truly ashamed that I was not happy when I was permitted to walk about in a superabundance of them. One lives so badly because one always comes into the present, unfinished, unable, distracted. I cannot think back on any time of my life without such reproaches, and worse. I believe that the only time I lived without loss were the 10 days after Ruth's birth, when I found reality as indescribable down to its smallest details, as it surely always is. But presumably I would not be so receptive to the splendor of these little pieces of heather stemming from the extravagance of the northern year if I hadn't just gotten over an urban summer. Perhaps then it wasn't completely in vain that I lived through the sort of cubicled summer where you're lodged as if in the smallest of those boxes that fit into one of the other 20 times. And you're sitting in the last one, crouching. Good God, how I labored last year. Oceans, parks, woods, forest meadows. My longing for these is indescribable sometimes. Now that winter is already impending here, those vaporous mornings and evenings are already starting, where the sun is merely the place where the sun used to be, and where in the yards all the summer flowers, the dahlias and the tall gladiolas, and the long rows of geraniums shout the contradiction of their red into the mist. This makes me feel sad. It brings up desolate memories, one doesn't know why, as if the music of the urban summers were ending in dissonance, in a mutiny of all its notes. Perhaps just because one has already once before taken all this so deeply into oneself and read its meanings and made it part of oneself without ever actually making it. Only this for Sunday. That's it. Well, the still life is coming along. It's coming along. The late afternoon light, it's not that late, but still winter. It's kind of coming in and changing everything on the setup. So maybe I'm pausing now. It's coming along. Maybe well, I think I sent a picture. Anyway, hope you're all well and making stuff and keeping ground. Okay. Be well. I'll talk to you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.